Welcome to Thinking Man Games, where we think about games so you will too. That's a cool catchphrase, just it's a new one. Anyways, I'm here not with Gabe today, because Gabe is somewhere else, I don't know where. 3 episodes in and he's already abandoned me. But I do have here Hayden Tan, a good friend of mine. How are you, Hayden?
I'm doing great.
I bet you are.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks for being here. Metaphorically. So, you know, we like to collect things in various ways. Collecting video games is in of itself collecting. You know, people collect stamps, whatever. But I'm looking over here at my shelf. I have this shelf of paraphernalia. Not drug paraphernalia, but like video game memorabilia is a better word, I should say. So I thought we would talk about, this isn't in tying into any kind of news story that's going on, but I just thought it was a nice change of pace to talk about video game memorabilia, just in general. And I know you're into that kind of stuff, because you're weird, and you buy memorabilia. God. So, I don't have much. Most of it's actually like Batman. I have a bunch of Batman figures. That's about it. But I do have some Sonic figures, old ones and then relatively new ones. But I'm not crazy into collecting memorabilia, but I know a lot of people are.
Yeah, me neither. Well, actually, I'd like to be a collector and, collect stuff, but unfortunately I can't, as I don't really have any space. So, but if I did, then I totally would.
Yeah, I guess that part of it is that on my side too. Because it'd be like, I'd love to have like shelves of toys.
I just have this simple shelf with, limited space.
But I know there's a huge market for, figures, even if they're not even like well made. You know what I mean? Like there's like these crappy figures that are still like in demand because not even just with kids but with adults that collect stuff just for the sake of having it, which I've never been into. I'm actually more into posters than figures because I have wall space, at least. You know what I mean? Like you can put
because
that
we
up.
can like visibly display.
Yeah. And it's not like
a figure.
Posters usually aren't like figures can get pretty expensive. But posters are relatively cheaper. They're just like paper.
Yeah.
But I think there's like a cool, like, psychology to collecting, and specifically in terms of video games. Because collecting the video games themselves is a thing unto itself, but people take it to a whole other level where they get figures related to it, or posters, or just promotional things from the time that these things were released. There's a YouTuber that I really like by the name of Pete Dorr, and
oh yeah, I know him.
You actually introduced me to him. Yeah, he's cool. But he's like a collector. He is like, if you say collector, that's what comes into my mind. Because I'm like, yeah, I collect video games, but I'm not a collector. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everyone's a collector in that they collect things over a period of time, but I don't seek out things for the sake of having it. But he has like a ton of stuff. But that's the kind of psychology that I'm interested in, not because it's like weird, but just because it's just not my thing. And it's just cool that other people, that is their thing.
Yeah, and I guess to them, video games is more than just simply playing.
Like, there's an emotional response there too.
Yeah, it's also about collecting stuff like figures, posters, to display their interest in
fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a kind of a pride in fandom for video games, where I don't think there's an industry or an entertainment medium that's so like that. Because you have people that are like, yeah, I'm a movie fan, but that doesn't mean that they're like as invested into movies. You know what I mean? Like they might have a movie poster up, but it just seems that and there's people that play video games too that are like that. There's people that play video games and will never buy a figure or poster in their entire life. But I feel like there's a greater percentage of people within video games that will do that kind of thing as compared to anything else, really. Because it's just like it's so investing. I know that there's some things that I would love to get figures of. Batman, one of them, even though he's not a video game character. It's like, I love Batman so much.
Yeah, well, I mean, Batman appears everywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Batman. People that don't even know. I saw that, okay, this is a tangent, but this is, conversation. Ties into stuff. I was at the mall the other day, yesterday actually, and there was this girl with a Batman shirt, but it was a shirt that was like pulled up.
Oh, yeah.
Under her breast.
I've seen those kind of people before. Like they wear those Batman shirts like with the logo, and they're like wannabe Batman.
Well, actually, this is a great spin-off into something totally unrelated. It's this thing where it's like people take this fandom that people have, and real fans will wear Batman shirts and stuff. But then there's people that take that and kind of make it their own, even if they're not huge fans. Which I'm not going to get into the whole fake gamer girl debate, because that's
for another time.
I don't even I don't know. Anyways, it's not even that I'm like angry that she's wearing it and she doesn't know who like Killer Croc is or something. You know what I mean? But it's just there's part of me that does feel that way. Actually, I'm gonna contradict myself in the same breath. But it's just like this thing where I'm like, do you even really like Batman? And I know, and she definitely wasn't wearing like the shirt to attract nerds or some stupid thing like that at a con, because she was with her boyfriend, who's this big buff guy, whatever. Stereotypes. Anyways, it's not because of that. And she probably likes Batman. She's probably seen the movies, likes the movies a lot, thinks Batman's cool. That's awesome. She can do that. But it's when they take it to such an obnoxious level.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the stuff I have.
The whole shirt.
Yeah.
Lifted up thing. Yeah.
And this is like the flip side of merchandising. It's
almost like treating Batman.
Yeah.
Just the name as a household.
And it had a bunch of
rhinestones.
It had like a bunch of rhinestones around the bat. I'm like, even just stylistically, it looks stupid. But I know a ton of girls that wear Batman shirts that could kick my ass in Batman knowledge. That's not the debate. You know what I mean? It's just that there's this. I don't know. It's cool to be a nerd now, which is great. But I feel like the people that...
Yeah, well, with the whole YouTube Geek Week.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. No, that's awesome, because that's exactly what's going on with that. But there's the kind of people that take pride in like their fandom for stuff, and they'll have figures lining their whole walls and stuff. But they separate that when they go out. You know what I mean? They're not wearing a shirt saying, I buy figures and I have a ton of video games and stuff. You know what I mean? But then there's people that don't do that and do wear shirts like that, which doesn't make sense to me. I'm
kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. So am I. But
I don't necessarily try to hide who I am outside.
Yeah, I'm not flamboyantly like, look at what I like. You know what I mean? I have shirts that are. I mean, I have like a Spider-Man shirt. I have a ton of nerdy shirts. But I'm sure there are shirts I have. I'm trying to think off the top of my head that I'm not like a huge fan of. Well, actually, I have an Audio Slave shirt, which is a great band, but I don't think I've even listened to every one of their albums all the way through. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing, too. I would say I'm a fan of Audio Slave, but someone who is a huge fan of Audio Slave, that would be like, you don't even know what you're talking about, would probably slant me for wearing a shirt, and then they ask me, like, what album is this? I'm like, I don't know. So I guess there's two sides to it. I think as gamers, we like kind of get this irrational elitism over our medium. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, like I said, movies, like it's like, oh, I watch movies, so you're not allowed to wear a movie shirt unless you know about it. That doesn't happen. But video games is just so weird. And it always seems the conversation turns to this. We've already talked about this with Gabe, but it's like, it's a very inclusive group of people. Video gamers. Gosh, I hate the word gamers, but that's another thing for another day.
Yeah.
But we've kind of steered way off base from that.
Yeah, anyways,
back to the video game merchandise stuff.
Yeah, since this video is about merchandise, I'd like to ask you a question, Tristan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of video game merchandise do you have, if any?
Well, like I said, I don't really have. Man, I don't really have anything. I'm looking around my room right now. Like I said, I have specifically video game related. I have, let's see, 2 Sonic things, figures, and that's it. Everything else, I have a bunch of Batman, and then I have a Vogon from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and that's not video games. So
Yeah, I only have a few things too. Like,
yeah, what do you? I know you have more than me, at least in explicitly video game stuff.
yeah, like, let's see here. I have a Sackboy plush.
Ooh, man.
I have a Big Daddy figure.
From BioShock, not like some creepy guy that calls
No,
himself.
no. Yeah, more specifically, from the first BioShock. Yeah, it's a really nice figure. Let's see, I have a Resistance figure of Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty neat too. And the last one I had, which isn't really a figure, but more, it's like a candy merchandise thing for Mario.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
It's a one-up mushroom head. And
Yeah, I've seen those around.
yeah, it's got the candy inside, but obviously there's no longer any candy, so instead I just put some coins in here instead.
Oh god, that hurts me.
Rattling there.
Yeah, I don't have anything, really. I don't even have posters. I have posters somewhere. They're like wrapped up somewhere. But I don't have them up.
Yeah, I used to have some posters too, but they're stocked away somewhere.
Yeah, so like if you walk into my room, you can tell I'm a big video game fan because I have a huge shelf of games, and then I have, you know, my PS3 and my PS2 prominently displayed. But you know, it never occurred to me that like I'm not that into stuff outside of the games themselves. Even though I would say I am, even though I'm not even remotely that way. I think it's because I'm on a limited budget. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like it's like I'd rather buy games than get stuff related to the games.
Yeah, I was about to ask something relating to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, like, I was gonna ask if money weren't an object, like if it were no obstacle, then, like, what would your view be on that?
Well, I'd buy everything in the world.
Yeah,
but no, like I mean, if I had like a budget for like video game figures, yeah, I mean, as long as the space allowed it. It's not that I'm against the idea of it. That's not even remotely the case. It's not like I'm like, oh, they're just toys and I'm not gonna play with them, because I don't. I wouldn't play with them. I'd probably just have them standing there. They collect dust and that's that. But they do look cool. So I mean, yeah, definitely. The thing is, I don't think I would go so far as to get like a lot, just a lot in general. I don't think I would go to the point where I'd want to
yeah, just
collect for like a
few of the
specific
most important ones.
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't collect like a lot for one series or something that's like my favorite.
Unless you're like really fond of that series or franchise.
Well, even if I was, I don't think I would. I mean, well, that's not true because I have a bunch of Batman figures right here. But I don't know. Yeah, and again, space is an issue. But then if I had a ton of money, then I just buy a figure house and then just fill it up with video game figures. But there's some really good ones out there, and that's the other thing. The video game figure, the creative side of it is an art all on its own, because there's statues that are like, they're beautiful, but they're really expensive. I remember you showed me.
To buy.
Yeah, exactly. You showed me like a Raiden figure once.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
It was a YouTube video.
Yeah, it was Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
Cyborg Raiden. Oh man, it was so beast, and it was like a limited edition one. And
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it was fairly big and it was super, super detailed. Like, just everything from the sculpt to the paint to the accessories, like the swords and the guns. I think they're guns. I don't know. But yeah, it was just one of the most epic and impressive things ever.
Yeah, but then how much money was that? That's the thing. It's like,
well, because now that's very rare to find, meaning that it's like in high demand.
Yeah.
you know, it's obviously it's going to be really expensive. And last time I checked, the price for it was like 200, 300 something.
Man, see, I could never bring myself to pay
Like, that's
that money.
insane.
So what do you think about video game memorabilia and things of that nature? Do you collect it? Do you think it's nerdy? Even though I don't know why you're watching this if you're not already nerdy in some way. Let us know in the comments. Gabe will be back next week probably. Who knows? Who cares? So thanks for being here, Hayden.
Yeah.
Conversation.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back sometime.